So we're here to talk about, let's call it the art of the possible. Like, what can we do? And I think it's going to help you realize the project that I've shared with you over and over again. And you've been like, I don't really see it. Like, why would we invest like in with people around us using tokens and shit and like all this complexity of DAOs? And okay. Because what they're doing, people, is they're trying to drive you out of your home, out of your city, out of your state, just like they did in Gaza and just like they did in Ukraine. You can let that sink in for a minute while I have a beverage. Now, some of you are scared to hear this. Like, you just hit an electric fence. Okay. The Koch brothers don't run America. Okay. Miriam Adelson doesn't run America. Mrs. Rothschild runs America. Who's Mrs. Roth? That's the joke. We don't really know. Catherine Austin Fitz calls it Mr. Global. Shahid King Bolson calls it the owners and controllers of global financialized capital. OCGFC? Yeah, I think that's right. We don't know who's running the show here, people, but we know what they're after, and they're after the fucking water, and they're after the soil. Okay, that's what Minneapolis has and Minnesota has in spades. So the thing I had behind my head instead of this door, I can't green screen on Substack. So you're going to have to. Okay, so let's take a look at this thing. This is what's behind me on TikTok. And this is, if you followed me for some time, you constantly hear this thing about area codes, and people go like, what do you mean area codes? What the hell? Do you mean because of our phones? And I'm like, no, it's because of your geographical location. Well, why is that? Okay. It's just a way to snapshot where you live and find about 1.5 to 2 million people in one region. North Dakota is one area code. Vermont's one area code. Well, here's Minnesota. I know it's a terrible thing to look at, but you can look it up yourself. There's about 6 or 7 of them, and it's sparsely populated, particularly in the north. So there's one big one up there, and then the city is 3 or 4. Okay, this isn't hard. Now, what I'm proposing to you is they're coming for Minneapolis and Minnesota itself. Do you follow me? It's not even political. They want to destroy the economy. They want to drive you out of your homes and out of your office buildings. And they want to build whatever they want. They want to completely dominate the economy. They want to completely dominate the politics. And they want you to leave. Just like Gaza, just like Ukraine. 4.2 million people left Ukraine when the war started, and 1.6 have been unalive. I know, it's a Sunday night, and you're like, is this guy okay? What is it with this guy with all this horrible number? This is the reality, people. This is what the fuck is going on. Okay? They're not up there just to like intimidate Tim Walz or some bullshit. Okay? Now think about this just for a minute. Tim Walz was the vice presidential, candidate. So if something happened to Candace, if she drank too many bottles of Blue Nun before lunchtime, they'd have Jazz Hands himself in the Oval Office. Do you think that maybe he's in on it? Okay. So look at how simple this is. I'm doing a screen. I exploded it so we could see Minneapolis better. Minneapolis is only 3 or 4 area codes. What I'm proposing, and I'm very sincere about this, I might go to Minneapolis to help you set this up, is you should build a fund, basically a REIT, a real estate investment trust for each one of these area codes. Because if you want to take control of the land, of the resources around you, you're going to have to not just vote for Tim Walz. You're going to have to take control of the resources around you. They want to displace you the same way that they wanted to displace people from Gaza and Ukraine, which they've succeeded at. Now this thing is coming. This would imply like half of the Republican Party has committed treason. Yes. This would explain like why like 2/3 of the Democrats voted for the fucking ICE agents to begin with. Yes. This would explain like why our political system doesn't have any way to resist it. That's right. There's no way to resist this. This is why I explained to you that it's like it's Gone with the Wind. It's like Moby Dick. It's like Blood Meridian. There's no like I'm gonna watch cable TV and send 27 fucking dollars to Bernie Sanders. That ain't gonna do anything. Where's Joel Osteen? Where's I don't know, just pick your favorite, like, where's Noam Chomsky? Right? All these political if you go deep into the world of Bruno, I've critiqued the concepts of capitalism and democracy. And I say, like, I'm not really sure that these things even apply to what's going on. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. That's what I'm trying to explain, that there's something to do about it. Now, let's just throw some numbers around. We could build these REIT things, we could just put 100 people together in an LLC and they could be the issuer of a REIT. It's not very hard to find 100 people, is it? Well, how would we raise the money? Well, okay, let's do some math. There's about 5.7 million people in Minnesota. I think about more than half of them are in the Twin Cities. 10,000 people times $10,000 is 100 million. Now, what's going to happen is that Mexican restaurant where the ICE agents ate dinner and then arrested everybody in the kitchen is going to go out of business. Okay? I don't know what kind of building that's in. As the tenants leave, as the hotels have no people in them, just like the pandemic, I think I can say COVID on here. It's not the censorship on Substack isn't. I haven't had any experience with censorship on here so far. They're trying to do to Minneapolis what was done to the country through the pandemic. Now, your brain might be like, are you saying like this is all like one bit? Yes, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to agree with me, but that's what they're doing now. Okay. So Minneapolis, believe it or not, of all the cities in America, is in some ways more attractive to them than San Francisco and Boston. It's a relatively light population. It has unlimited fresh water. It's cold and it's surrounded by the best soil in the world. Everything that they want is there. This is why I keep referring to it as Gaza and Ukraine combined. Well, Christ, we could put 10,000 people together pretty easily. Yeah, I know you could. That's what I've been talking about for 5 years. Now let's go to the opportunity zones. They've already made the legal arrangements, people. They've already made the legal arrangements to do this. They didn't make the opportunity zones because they're going to because the federal government's like going to promote manufacturing or some shit. No. So this is on the left. This is an exploded version of Minneapolis, and this is the state itself. Are these things the same thing as the area codes? Of course not. These are the zones determined state by state by state. Generally, they have a income ratio that's significantly below the poverty line. Now, when you're building a data center, you don't care if there's any people there or not. Look at the fucking water that's available to these opportunity zones. All you got to do is chase everybody out, buy them up for nothing. They're already poor as fuck. Okay, forgive me, these are like ghettos. These are like the part of the cities that nobody goes to anyways. These are rural areas that nobody goes to. These are old towns that are falling in on itself. The granaries have fallen over the railroad. And you know what I'm saying? They don't care about you. They just want the resources. This is who Trump really represents. Trump works for Mr. Global. Trump works for Mrs. Rothschild. Trump works for the owners and controllers of globalized financial capital. And that's a tale we could take back to the 1980s when he went to the Soviet Union. Think about it. The Soviet Union probably put him in touch with some scary people with a lot of money to purposely try to control him. That overlaps with Epstein. That overlaps with the Rothschilds. That overlaps with Abramovich. That overlaps with the whole spooky, shady world that we don't understand. That's why it's better to just call it Mrs. Rothschild and just sort of go, I don't understand it. But this is what they want. This is what they're going after right here, people. You're expendable. This is why you're getting flashbangs thrown into schools and churches and underneath minivans. They want you to get the fuck out of there. I know this is harsh. I know it's harsh. Go read the book, The Fourth Turning. This is what they tried to explain. They weren't kidding when they said it was going to be like the Civil War. They didn't mean it was going to be like Martin Luther King was going to give some speeches and shit. They said like they're going to come through your door with masks on. Somebody showed me a video. Not only do they have assault weapons, they have fucking assault weapons with silencers on them. These are paramilitary mercenaries. I was the first guy on the internet to say ICE is ISIS. I've seen 2 Marines and a wife of a Navy SEAL on TikTok say these guys operate just like ISIS in Libya, in Syria, in Iraq, and Afghanistan. I know this is a lot to take in on a Sunday night. I know. You could be watching football and eating a chicken sandwich, and instead you're... We could do this in Minneapolis. It would take about a week. Would you do what? Take the whole state over. Build these REIT things. I call them real world asset trusts because it sounds like crypto. Real world assets is like the big thing. We would tokenize the whole state. What? You're serious? Yes, I'm dead ass serious about this. I've been explaining this for 5 years. Okay. I would say things like the war on terror is over and it's going to come home. Now let's talk about that. Is the war on terror really okay? So you have this image of there's this big imperial war in Syria, and okay, yeah. Well, now they're talking about like Greenland and Venezuela and Cuba. Yeah, because the imperial part of it, from their standpoint, has been successful. They just wanted to decapitate all these nations from Libya to Afghanistan. Okay. They just wanted to decapitate, like take the head off all these nations throughout the Middle East. The ones that are still there are on board with this new Abrahamic thing, right? They're all going to sign a big agreement. Trump's going to stand around the big weird ball like he was in The Simpsons and all. If you know, you know. Okay. What are we doing taking over Greenland and Cuba and shit? Well, we literally bankrupt the United States of America proper in this process. So now it's like an explosion. It's like a supernova that's now coming back onto itself. The war on terror has come home. Ground zero of the war on terror is Minneapolis. They've already taken Washington, D.C., right? They've already taken... Chicago's too hard to take, right? It's too crazy. It's too big. San Francisco's... They sort of already control San Francisco. They don't really... they control the port and they control the water and so forth. But what they really want out of Minnesota is its resources. So whether you want to look at this as a big conspiracy or a crypto tokenization play, or you just love Minnesota, or you want to resist, or you're looking at an opportunity, an investment opportunity, if you want to do really, really deep value investing, think about the fact that they went to the effort of making this opportunity zone legislation that made 16% of the United States of America tax-free. Feeling me? So you're saying, wait a minute. So you're saying like the poorest, shittiest parts of Minneapolis. Here, I'll blow it up for you. You can see how close they are, the proximity they are to water. I know my production capacity here. There you go. And this is what they're doing. How hard would it be to build a little fund for each one of those and have the people regionally buy it up? Take about a month. We have people standing by waiting for your call. That's not true, but we are ready to do this. We've been talking about it for 5 years. Okay? You can go look at all the content on Substack. I pulled like 35, 40 videos from TikTok. I was the guy who said like Trump is going to nationalize parts of the economy, check. Trump is going to take over the US Treasury, check. Trump is going to slowly take over the Federal Reserve, check. He's now filed a lawsuit against Jay Powell, check. All this crazy. I said that the war on terror will eventually come home. So the people in Minneapolis that are attacking the nice people of the Great White North look like the people we were fighting in Syria and Libya and Iraq. It's so fundamentally easy to understand. What did they do in Ukraine when they wanted to start the war? They went to a kind of like Ukrainian ISIS called the Azov Brigades, and they got them. They're like the leftover. Who's their leader? He's a Nazi. He's a skinhead. So they got the skinheads to attack the Russians, and Victoria Nuland passed out the donuts, and the rest is history. And Rachel Maddow just came on and went, Putin, 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 Putin. All you leftists and all you lesbians, your real problem in the world is Putin. Putin doesn't have anything to do with anything that goes on in the United States. And now the like American Azov brigades are attacking lesbians in Minneapolis. Do you see how this is a natural progression? The propaganda, oh yeah, we have to go there. We have to go to Syria, and Assad uses barrel bombs, like whatever the fuck that means. Like, who cares what the shape of a bomb is, right? This is all the propaganda, and now it's home. Now it's home, people. And like, there's no rule of law. Like these lawyers getting on saying, if they come to your door, they don't give a shit about warrants or shit about fuck, Marty. These people, this is bad shit, man. This is real bad. The reason I'm saying that, I'm not trying to make you more upset. I'm just saying I don't think any of those attempts at resistance are going to work. I don't think standing out in the cold and screaming at people is going to work either. I'm trying to give you like another. So like if we're taking on like, I don't know, the Rothschilds and shit, like we're not really going to be able to displace them. No, you're not. And that's why I've always explained to you like the crypto thing isn't the big revolution that it's being made out to be. They're like, well, we won't even have banks. We'll just like send money to each other. We'll get to the money thing here in a minute. We won't have to pay taxes. The FBI won't be able to track. Come on, people. There's no way. The DARPA runs the internet. There's no way to do anything on the internet, including this, that they can't track. Hello? There's a book. You can go get it. You can order it tomorrow. It's called The Technological Republic. This whole operation is being run by AI. Super intelligent AI watched one of my videos and just commented. He just said, join Team Human. I'm trying to build Team Human. We need to be human again. We can't really, there's not a lot to do with a flashbang if it gets thrown in your face. It blows up. Hopefully you don't lose your eyesight and your hearing. But there's no way to resist these people. I mean, the best way I've heard, somebody said that there's people dressing up as ICE agents and infiltrating them. That's pretty clever. But that's not what we're here for. I'm not here to do like anti-ICE operations. No. You have to join Team Human. That's a great thing that Minnesota has, is that it has a sort of a Scandinavian social worldview already. That's why I'm increasingly day after day, hour after hour, thinking that maybe that's the place where I go and beat my chest and say, why don't you join us in the bottom of this hotel? We'll hope we don't get flashbanged, but we'll sit around and we'll look at these maps together and go like, well, yeah, this isn't that hard. No, it's not that hard to put 6 LLCs together and like give everybody an ERC-20 token. Yeah. Well, how would we raise the money? That's Bruno's job. Okay. That's our job, is to explain to you how to do a Reg A plus offering. You can raise up to $75 million. You can find 10,000 people with $10,000 and we're in business. Sure. You're like making a plan to like raise $700 million in like a relatively short, like a year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What would work better, $700 million, or like picket signs and throwing snowballs at 27-year-old men on amphetamines? It's here, people. This is not a fucking joke. They wrote a book about it. They said that this is what they were going to do. We're like, Silicon Valley's a bunch of pussies. We're not taking any shit anymore. Stephen Miller gets on TV all the time, so there's nothing anybody can do about it. We can do whatever the fuck J.D. Vance gets up and says these people are immune, which, if you've followed me for some time, I like to go into like these theological, metaphysical things, and we're going to get there. But for right now, this is just the blocking and tackling of how would you do this? In other words, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's probably 30 of these opportunity zones. So you're talking about doing both the opportunity zones and the area codes. Yes. They're the same thing, people. It's like pizza. It's like once you okay, Bruno, we actually have a new entity called Town and Country. See how that fits in? Like we're going to work in Town and Country, but let's just call it Bruno for right now. So Bruno's the sponsor. You create an LLC with 100 trustees in it, and that becomes the issuer of this thing that collects all the money and deploys it locally. Well, who's going to make the decisions? Life's hard, people. I can't solve all the problems for you. But let's pretend like the ICE agents aren't in Minneapolis. Let's just take a map of Minnesota and say, like, well, if these places have been designated as opportunity zones, they're an investment opportunity already because you don't pay capital gains. Yeah, that's right. I never thought of that. So you could like build shit there and not pay tax. That's right. So like this would really be good for the economy. Yes. So like the poor part of town and where people are struggling and they they've just lost their health care. Yes. And the state of Minnesota is probably, they're not left-wing loons or like leftist weirdos or whatever. Quite the contrary. They're like people that work hard and are like live in the north and are like communal, because if you get run out of gas and you're stuck in a snowdrift and nobody drives by in 3 hours, you're dead. So people tend to be nice where it's warm. It's like Prince saying like it's too cold up there. There's no bad people. Look at the opportunity. Like even if this wasn't going on, I mean, I've done this for 5 years. I sit here and go like, somebody should make like REITs and tokenize them and we should maybe put like 5-10% of our retirement plans in this. And people were just like, I don't understand that. So maybe you'll understand it now that they're throwing flashbangs at you. Okay, so that's the opportunity zone. Roughly speaking, it looks like there's about 25 or 30 of them in the cities in Minneapolis, and it looks like the rest. Like, look at this thing right here. I don't know what to do. I don't like solve all the problems. Look at this thing right here, right along the ocean, right along the lake. I mean, there's an opportunity for like like a resort or something right there that's massive, right? There's probably nothing there. Here in Pennsylvania, in some of the most beautiful parts of Pennsylvania, where there's like no people, right? So it's impoverished, whatever. It's gorgeous. I think there's one outside of Clarion. There's a small part of Pennsylvania which is the native indigenous forest, which isn't oak trees and it isn't deciduous. It's like the old conifers. It's not very big. It's just like a couple counties. That's an opportunity zone. And we all run around here in America saying, like, I don't know why housing's so expensive and everybody's trying to live in the same 10 area codes. Okay, so speaking of area codes, so here's the area codes. Let's just stare at this again. Okay, maybe it'd be better if I turned this off. Okay, sorry, I know it's reflecting. That's better. We're like right in there. There you go. So there's only there's 4 or 5 of them in the city, and like you could roll this thing up in a week. There's a real nice CPA in Amarillo, Texas, waiting for you. Hey, Selena, we need an LLC agreement for 218. Okay. We actually have a we've taken the AI thing like a little bit to the mattresses, as they say. It's not finished, but we have an agent to pass out tokens. So when 1,700 people in the 218 area code want to be investors and they need tokens, like we're going to do that with AI, or we can do it by hand. Thanks, Jojo. I'll look at that later. Is there a difference between the structure of area codes and opportunity zones? Not really. Not really. You're just trying to make like a bucket of money, a basket. And there has to be some entity that's in charge of that because the SEC says, who is the issuer? Okay. So all we need to make the issuer is 50, 60 people who join our Substack, sign the documentation, meet in the lobby of, a big hotel in Minneapolis or someplace else. I don't care. But I think this whole operation that I've worked on for 5 years, we might just launch it right out of Minneapolis, right with the tanks and shit rolling down the streets. That might be the best way to people. They're not coming to help you. Okay. They're coming to flashbang your ass. This is how bad this is. And you can either sit around and get like all worked up and send $27 to Bernie Sanders, which isn't going to fucking do anything. They're the party that dropped 10,000 metric tons of bombs on Gaza. It's the Democratic Party. They just put some like, chicks with dicks stuff. I know I don't participate in these bullshit cable TV narratives that you hear from everybody else. The whole fucking thing is completely insane. Men on swim teams getting in showers with the Penn State girls coming out of the fucking pools and stuff. The whole Democratic Party is a fucking joke, and that's why this is happening. And the leaders of the Republican Party, Stephen Miller and so forth, just say, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want to do. That's your option. You have like Tweedledee and Tweedledeath is your political options. I'm suggesting you do something else. I'm not suggesting you go attack an ICE agent with a shovel. I don't think that that's going to get very far. Let's do something else. Let's do something that makes sense. Let's use the tech for our advantage, not just theirs. Let's talk about that for a minute. Shall we have a musical interlude? We'll talk about tech next. You can think about this because all this is happening right now where I've seen people on social media, I've referenced the PhD from Harvard where people are saying, now that we know there's a system made by Palantir called Elite that is literally geofencing the people. They're looking into your homes, into your iPads, into your iPhones. They're listening to you. If you're in Minneapolis right now listening to me, they're listening to you. I'm sort of used to this. I just don't care anymore. They're listening to you. Okay. Oh, I do want to talk about this for just a second. And it's going to be just a little bit spooky. But all right, might as well just go for it. Let's just get it going here. So here's an ad for Chrome. We need to get off all these things, people. I mean, not immediately, not a drastic way, but like, I don't really need Google up my ass like every single thing I do. Understand that like 80-90% of everything you do online, you're signing in with Apple, Google, or Facebook. Okay. And underneath that is Oracle, which was created by the CIA and darkness. So the whole internet is just one big network, hence the name. Okay. But there's these systems being built. Local AI is one of them. Increasingly, Ethereum and specifically Vitalik Buterin doesn't talk about DeFi and we're going to get rid of the banks and we're going to take over the financial system. He doesn't talk about that anymore. He says really what we're really focused on. Let's hit it, people. Let's get it in. Let's get it on. Yeah. Pulling out the big guns tonight. The glasses and everything. You got to do it, people. Let's go. Yeah. By the way, folks, we don't really need money. We just need participation. And if you're listening to all this and you're like, maybe I should do this where I live. Yes. I'll give you another place that's going to go through this very quickly is West Virginia. West Virginia has a lot of problems, has a lot of energy. It's very poor, and it has unlimited water. Where I live is almost, I could like shoot an arrow and like it would almost go to West Virginia in the Appalachian Mountains. They're just going to seize all these properties wherever they can. Yeah. When you listen to this song, you sort of are like 14 again, and like you can picture the movie and everything. And my favorite part was like the guy who ran the club. He had like the Detroit Lions hat on, if I remember, and like a pair of shades. And he's always busting Prince's balls. And at the end, when this song is like, and you can see he like just finally breaks down emotionally. He's just like. So there's a phrase I've used on here for a long time called social capital, and everybody gets very confused when I say that. They don't understand that all capital has to be social. You mean social media? Not exactly. Did you ever sit around and hear like old men argue about Ford and Chevy pickup trucks? Like they're so into their product that they buy and utilize that they actually have like almost like a religious affinity for it. This is what, since Reagan, and remember Reagan, beat the guy from Minnesota, Wall Street, the media, the universities, the economists, both parties, Bill Clinton, Robert Rubin, and even Warren Buffett, I'll put a little asterisk on him though. They like just let money do whatever it wants. Don't get in the way. There's nothing other than money in the universe. And this is why we're just absolutely helpless as we're being attacked by ice agents. Technology going forward is either going to be social or it's going to be asocial. And these big systems like Google and Palantir, which are all the same, and Oracle and Larry Ellison and TikTok, are going to increasingly be seen as asocial. So what I'm trying to explain to you is, let's go build like the community, the social part, and layer on all this new tech, AI and blockchain in particular, on top of it. Now, 2 years ago, this was a much bigger process than it is now. Now it's easy. Okay. So, fuck it. Let's all go to Minnesota. Let's go to Minneapolis. Let's go. It might do you good to drive by a tank. These big. By the way, make no mistake about it. The ice guys, the vehicles driving down the roads. Where do they look like they came from? Israel. Who's really invading Minneapolis? Israel. No, you can't say that. Well, I just fucking did. Okay. But this week, I'll explain to you the problem isn't even Israel, and it's not the Jews. Okay. That's just an apparatus to sit down on our system and control it. And this week, I'll lay it out for you. The owners and controllers of global financial capital, Mrs. Rothschild, Mr. Global, that's where the real action is. And we can't, hitting an ICE agent with a shovel isn't going to do anything. But they are trying to displace you. Yeah, people, go to eig.gov and you'll see that those maps that I showed you of Minnesota exist for every state and every city. Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, New York City, Chicago, the whole center of LA is one big opportunity zone. They're numbered. They're just sitting there. It's such a perfect thing to tokenize. Okay, so by the way, all these songs have like another 30 minutes to them. I don't know where you get it. Okay, 718 or 218, excuse me, is the top half of Minnesota. So think about this like from a technology standpoint. So you're saying like we could just like make token 218 and like that would roll together like all, yeah. Hold on. Let me tell you something, Linda. So you're saying all the opportunity zones have numbers. Don't believe me? Look. They're all numbered. So here's this one down at the bottom. It's called Hennepin, I guess. So you could just make like a token. It could be called Town and Country Opportunity Zone 270-530-25200. See how you just like it'd be like making pizza. Like once you'd make one of them, you just keep making them one after another. There's a nice guy overseas named Omar who's building. Sorry, it was a text from my son. We're not only going to like do this tokenized, we're going to build AI agents that will do it automatically. What? Mhm. Yeah, because if you sit here and say let's do 7 of these things, like that sounds reasonable. It sounds like we could get like in a lobby of a hotel room for 2 hours before the playoff game or the Super Bowl or something, and put this all. Let's fuck it. Let's all meet in this. Let's all meet in Minneapolis for the Super Bowl. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get some big maps of Minnesota and Minneapolis, and everybody can come in and have like a Danish and a coffee and a margarita or whatever, and look around and go like, my God, like you could really do this. Yes, you could. And it doesn't just have to be just Minneapolis and Minnesota. Oh, by the way, there's a thing you should know. I looked at it. I look at it every year and I've never done it. You can buy a ticket right now for Amtrak and go for 1 month. You can make 10 trips for $250. So where I am from Western Pennsylvania, it's like a 7-hour thing to get to. It's like 2 hours to Pittsburgh, and then it's like 7 hours to Chicago, and then it's like 2 or 3 hours to Minneapolis. It's not like flying, but it's sort of convenient too. But maybe we just make a target of Super Bowl weekend, Minneapolis, wear a MAGA hat. When you walk by ICE, go ICE. Yes. More, kill them all. Let God sort them out. Whatever, just get through it. Just order a big Uber XL with a black Suburban. And if anybody knocks on the door, say, um, you know, go get them, boys. I don't think there's any reason to try to tangle with these people. If you want to make changes politically, I think what's going to have to happen is some people are going to have to talk to the local Republican representatives and say, we maybe need to have a come to Jesus moment because we sort of all live together and like, we're not going to put up with this. And you're going to have to choose which side of this you're on. Or, you might want to go live somewhere else. But it's all sitting there waiting on you, people. You want to meet in Chicago? You want to meet in Minneapolis? Let's do Minnesota. It is, if you just sit back and look, by the way, you don't have to live in Minnesota to like participate in this. Quite the contrary, you should really look at this and be like, let's wind this up. Let's finish this off by going like this. So you're telling me that the owners and controllers of global financial capital, Mr. Global and Mrs. Rothschild, want to take over Minneapolis so bad that they will send paramilitaries there and shoot a lesbian in the face. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Mhm. They want to build this shit there so bad that they're willing to destroy the economy of Minneapolis to get it. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's not exactly like Gaza. It's not exactly like Ukraine. I think there's like, here, this would be interesting to see. How many? Now, if I was governor of Minnesota, which it's a good thing that I'm not, I would have said this weekend I'd like all hunters in Minneapolis to come to Minnesota and bring your rifles and shotguns. Just bring them, just put them over your shoulder and just come into the Capitol and we'll just all get together and eat venison and watch the playoff games. I know that would have been a disaster and lots of people would have been. Um, Minnesota is the 16th highest nationally with hunters. Paid hunting license are 550,000. So there's 550,000 people with, by the way, everybody talks about assault rifles. Shotguns and deer rifles are just as dangerous as assault rifles, sometimes even more. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So scratch all that. Um, it's about social capital, people. It's about the future of the internet is Web3. It's social media where you're in control, where these big C corporations are not going to be in control. Look at OpenAI, what a failure it is. It's getting crushed. Look at Manus. Facebook has spent $100 billion trying to build an AI program, and they just bought the one that I referred you to, Manus. Not that I'm some great wizard of AI. I'm just like looking through all the things that are available to me, and I look at Sam Altman and I say, there is no fucking way that I would even give that guy a candy bar, let alone talk to his AI about my business or my life or my community or my children or anything. There is no way I would have anything to do with that guy. And then one morning, a girl gets on TikTok and says, I just got this new Manus thing and you can apply for it and get approved. And I've been using it for, I don't know. Manus came out, I think, like last March. I've used DeepSeek since it's also Chinese since last. It came out on Boxing Day, December 26th. That's no accident. Okay, let me leave you with this. The tech is in the balance. The way the whole economy is in the balance. Like they think that they're going to take everything over. They're going to scare everybody. You're going to be real afraid of Palantir. Palantir's on your phone. You're watching some things on Pornhub that you shouldn't be watching, and they know it. And all, right, and they just constantly want you to know there's nothing you can do about it. JD Vance says they're immune. Right, this team death wants you to be afraid. Team human is saying, no, but you have to organize a little bit. Okay. You can't just like get on OpenAI. You can't just get on Chat GPT and run your life because it's all going through this. Okay. You're going to have to go build this. They're not going to, Google isn't going to go build this for you. Tim Waltz isn't going to go do this for you. Tim Waltz is part of them. Okay. You need to do this yourself. That's why I'm here. Have a nice week.